A really great article written by the Mercury News. It's an opinion piece. Don't believe what Uber and Lyft claim about Proposition 22. Before we dive in there, quick shout out to Cover, Kover. Get yourself a free month of the best gig protection plan with my link below. And now we jump right in. So the initiative would exempt gig companies from having to comply with fundamental employment laws. By now, you've probably seen some slick TV ads for Proposition 22. If you're in California, paid for by Uber, Lyft, and other app-based companies, they hope you have, because they are spending $181 million to tell you a story. And it's nothing but a fake story, right? They're trying to win you over with this $181 million. These so-called gig companies now are waging the most expensive propaganda campaign in state history. They've outspent all other special interests that came before them: big oil, big pharma, big tobacco. They've spent way, way more money than these companies that tried to buy your vote in previous campaigns. They know they must spend big because it costs a lot to confuse the public about the facts. Let me repeat that. They know they must spend big because it costs a lot to confuse the public about the facts. Here's the truth about Prop 22. It's an initiative that would exempt these gig companies from having to comply with the fundamental employment laws that apply to all other industries. Things such as minimum wage, overtime, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, access to safety equipment, and more. I want to add to this: Californians should not fall for the cheap trick. California bailed out Uber and Lyft to the tune of $413 million that they did not pay into the system. Don't fall for this cheap trick twice, right? During the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, you, the California citizen, bailed out the Uber and Lyft driver, and you shouldn't do it again. In these cases of those TV ads, the fiction is that all drivers do the work as part-time gigs. The ads cite misleading research based on company-provided data that they've drummed up and paid for themselves. 80% of drivers work only a few hours a week, and that drivers support being independent contractors by a 4-to-1 margin. That's what they're selling you on, right? But that is the data that they have created and are marketing through $181 million of TV ads. Independent studies from both ends of the state tell an entirely different story. UC Santa Cruz research concluded on-demand ride-hailing and delivery work in San Francisco is performed predominantly by people for whom it is close to full-time work. A survey of Southern California drivers by UCLA found that almost half the drivers are driving 35 hours or more. In addition, 55% said they would prefer to earn a set hourly wage after expenses. Right, those are the facts. As a ride-hail driver for the last 6 years, this is somebody writing about this, I can attest that Uber and Lyft are desperate to get more work out of existing drivers by offering them bonuses to drive more hours. We know that as drivers. When you try to chase those bonuses, you can fall behind. One year I had 5 flat tires. I've replaced cracked windshields. All those expenses came out of my pocket. My Toyota Prius finally died recently after 275,000 miles. Proposition 22 includes promises to improve conditions for drivers, but they are empty promises. It says drivers will be paid 120% of minimum wage, but they would be paid only for engaged hours, right? So you only get paid for the driven hours. So it's a big fat lie that they're selling the California citizen. And never for the time they spend disinfecting cars between rides. You're not getting paid for that. Waiting for the next call or driving back from some remote drop-off location or filling up your car. You see, that is the misleading language in Proposition 22. And ladies and gentlemen, it works out to $5.65, right? A so-called 120% of minimum wage. It says drivers will be paid 30 cents a mile for expenses, which is pathetic, but that doesn't even come close to covering the actual cost. In fact, it's only about half of what the IRS allows truly independent contractors to claim. It says drivers will receive insurance coverage in the event of an on-the-job injury, but the provision caps the amount of medical expenses and limits the periods for which drivers could receive disability pay. There are no such restrictions for employees covered by workers' compensation insurance. Drivers should be classified as employees because the facts show that is exactly what they are. Courts in California have consistently held that to be the case. It is drivers like me who will lose if Prop 22 passes. We're grateful for the support we've received from labor unions that can be counted on to speak out against exploitation, but we are mismatched against an industry that will spend whatever it takes to preserve a system that impoverishes drivers. There's a better way. They could follow the law. Please make them do that and vote no on Prop 22. I urge every Californian not to fall for the deceptive ads, the deceptive language that they are trying to sell you with their $180 million of ads. One more shout out, again, Cover, Kover. It's the best gig protection plan. Go down below, get a free month through me, through the Rideshare Professor, and read up on the dashboard what all the benefits are for a gig worker. Have a great day and please chime in.